I've got the playoff picture. I know you think you have the playoff picture too, but there's a lot of Big Lebowski ins, outs, what have yous to go over. What about the Broncos? What about the Rams? What about the Packers? And what about the Steelers? There are so many questions today. I've got huge guests who are much brighter than I to break things down. Lucky today to welcome RG3. I'm hoping he makes the case for Lamar over Josh Allen for MVP to make it interesting. A lot of people are saying it's case closed on that. I don't know if RG3 feels that way. Mina Kimes of ESPN is here. Eagles, best team in football, question mark. The Packers took down her Seahawks. How does she feel about them, their defense? And what do the Chiefs do with Patrick Mahomes? How do they manage that with the one seed still in play? And RG3 hopefully tells me everything I need to know about the Heisman, Travis Hunter, as we say hello to Monday. It's No Curse Word Monday here on the Up and Adam Show. Welcome, holiday cheer and hollies and jollies, and we're hoping to get Kevin Durant on the program. I believe there's a baby chance that we might get to talk to Jahmyr Gibbs at some point this week. Today, huge guest. So grateful to get some time with RG3, fresh off the Heisman. He was there. I want the vibes. I want Travis Hunter. Is he going to play corner? Should he be a receiver? Where should he go in the draft? All those sort of things. Got a little commander. Jaden looking good. Running all over the Saints. Off a bye, lots to talk to him about. And then just the analysis, the brilliance of Mina Kimes to come break down the ins and the outs of the playoff picture. What does she believe in the NFC? Super interesting. So many games, a lot of movement. So let's reset and get you ready for your week. Both conferences, flip it to the NFC. Please, first, the Lions and Eagles. They're tied, baby. Ooh. Where do they play? Detroit, Philly, that matters. Big time Lions. They're still on top, of course. The conference record tiebreaker is theirs. Vikings can join them at 12-2 with a win over the Bears tonight. I'm going to tell you, Vikings are not going to be happy because they don't think you're in the show that much today. I can tell you, I don't know if we're going to get to you yet. We have a whole week to figure it out. The seeding would stay the same heading into Week 16. The Packers win in Seattle. Big time ripple effect. The Rams now in first place in the West. They take over that 4 seed. Seahawks loss also clinches a playoff spot for Minnesota. And Commanders, they stay a game up for the last wildcard spot in the NFC. They beat the Saints. They hold any tiebreaker, by the way, over any of those NFC West teams that are right on their tail. Flip it to the AFC. Thank you. Okay, so here's the deal. The Chiefs and Bills, they both win. KC still up 2 on Buffalo over the 1 seed, still in play. Nobody has secured it. There's uncertainty around Patrick Mahomes, and that ankle makes things complicated. What should they do? Carson Wentz, we're looking at you, kid. The Bills still very much alive in that race. MVP race, I don't know how close that is. We'll get to the Ravens and the Lamar side of things here. They go with a win, they move within a game of Pittsburgh for the AFC North lead. Oof. This is getting interesting. They beat the Giants. Steelers lost to Philly. Broncos, all they need to do. Sean Payton, Bo Nix, you got to win one of the last 3. You got one in LA up against the Chargers this week, short week. Big win over Indy, one happy Sean Payton. It looks like he's growing out his hair. I like it. Chargers have now lost 3 of 4. Their defense really struggled against Tampa, but they're still 2 up on the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals for the last wild card spot. Taruski. There's a lot going on, you guys. Week 16 kicks off in just a couple of days. Hello. Hi, world. Hi there. RG3, Mina Kimes on the show. Well, keep breaking this down with me. Tell me what they think, who moves, who's interesting, who might be an underdog. As far as yesterday, we got to start with last night, right? Oh, the Packers. Don't tell me they can't. They certainly can. They go and they just inserted their will. They dominated this Seahawks team out the gate, quick start. After that loss, they needed this one, and they got it exactly how they wanted to. Jordan Love looking aggressive. I know people have their questions about him, which I do think are valid, but not right now, not after that, okay? A lot of the 12s mad at me for calling them a cute little fan base. Jokingly, of course, to Luke Kuechly, to the like, to the Rams. But this got out of control very quickly and in enemy territory. It felt over by the end of the first quarter. Jordan Love, 2 drives, these amazing touchdowns, the way the defense is playing even without Jair Alexander. What I want to focus on is this D, because this is what makes them scarier than last year's edition of this squad. Even before Geno left the game, they were dominating. This is a tough quarterback. I almost swore, I'm not gonna. 7 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 2 big interceptions. So shout out, by the way, Edgerrin Cooper. What a linebacker this guy. Is he the best linebacker they have? He made plays in all those categories in his return after missing a month. The Packers shut down every phase of the Seahawks offense. They weren't doing this at any point last year. This makes them scarier. It makes them scarier in the NFC North because you're looking at what the Lions don't have on defense. We're looking like a complete team. We're looking on a team that's going on a little run. They rank in the top 10 in every major defensive category right now. In the bottom half of the league in all of his categories except for scoring defense a year ago. This is a big change, something to really pay attention to down the stretch. And they've done it without one of their best players in Jair in that stretch. I also want to say sometimes these numbers can lie a little bit because it is about your competition. Who are you playing? Green Bay. Who are they playing? They've already played 10 offenses that rank in the top optimal offenses, top half of the league, including the Lions twice, and that's the team you want to beat, and it's also what they did to the Seahawks, who they took down and stifled last night with Geno and without Geno. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, relax, Chiefs fans, but the DC switch from Joe Barry to Jeff Hafley, it's giving Bob Sutton to Spags energy, okay? And that's what we saw in Kansas City a year ago. Chiefs fans, psh, I'm not saying that. I know you're feeling it this morning. We love you. We're going to talk about the Chiefs. Of course, they play on Christmas. They play the Texans on Saturday before they get to take on those Steelers at a big loss. We're going to get to all of it right here. But I think it's a big part of why we're seeing Green Bay getting the 4th best odds, okay, to win the NFC at plus 700. By the way, Eagles, we'll get to the Eagles. Not the interesting, FanDuel. They're a wild card team, the Packers. They won their last Super Bowl from that spot, too. Just saying. Let's get to Philly. Eagles, okay, picked up their 10th straight win. This is not a take. The most impressive win of the season for them, for sure. They dominate the Steelers, the high-floor, rolling Steelers with these amazing superstars getting their thing done on defense. This complete team, this Mike Tomlin, hard knocks energy that everybody's giving out. They're the team. They're the anointed little sexy team that Super Bowl champion Aqib Talib and Luke Kuechly, and everybody's saying they're the ones to go and run the Eagles. Crushed them. And they did this in a week that there was some drum uppage of noise, of 50 Shades of last year, or something falling off the rails. That does make it a bigger deal, and it does make it more impressive, and it probably added to their cohesion of a team. That happening, them sticking together against it. A.J. Brown, here he is on his touchdown celebration. Yes, the one he had with his quarterback, Jalen. Just take a listen to this.
That was our moment to tell everybody to shut up, honestly, So yeah, the coaches let the game come to them, and they seen it was low in the box a little bit, and we were just winning our one-on-ones, and Jalen got in the rhythm, and it just kind of how the game went.
Eagles haven't needed to air it out like this, so they haven't. No one's been able to slow down Saquon until yesterday. Looking for an update on him. I guess he got hit in the thigh. Who knew that his thigh could be hurt? Who knew? He's kind of a superhero in that way. But Steelers kept him bottled up. Then he had a little bit of an injury. It gave Philly the chance to make a statement here, to do what they wanted to do. Which we loved seeing, of course. You're looking at these numbers here, 25 completions, 290 yards, were the most we've seen out of Hurts since September, just under 3 months ago, okay? He posted his highest completion percentage since October, his best passer rating since the first week of November, a long time ago. It was also the first time that both A.J. and Devontae Smith had over 100 yards in the same game in just under 2 years. And I don't want, by the way, Mr. Smith, Mr. Heisman, as we'll talk to RG3 about Travis Hunter and his Heisman experience and all that. Devontae Smith had what a game. All the A.J. headlines are going to go off. This is what makes it unstoppable. And for this offense to do this against what is a really good Steelers defense, top five, what is left to pick apart with the Eagles? There are no holes. They have answered all of the questions. The only thing I will say is this. It's reasonable to sort of have questions about the Eagles because they were stacked last year and something fell apart. So you're looking for what fell apart. Was it this A.J. Brown thing? Is it this Jalen thing? Now they don't have Brandon Graham. He's dapping up Tom Brady on the sidelines, and they're still rolling. I don't know that you can poke anything into them, but I do understand the human curiosity and with what happened last year and how loaded they are to have questions about it. But make no mistake, like, this is the best defense in the league second half of the season. Somehow, as you just saw, FanDuel Sportsbook, not that I want to create my own locker room drama here with my company that I'm partnered with, but the Lions still favored over them, huh? To win the NFC this morning. Detroit plus 190, Eagles plus 250. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm probably feeling some type of way about that, and I'd like to know how you're feeling. Let's go to the Lions quickly before we bring RG3 on. The onside kick, okay? Wildly talked about this morning, wildly agresivo. Here's what I'll say. I understand. I understand not having the confidence in the banged-up defense, who are so banged up, more banged up than they were going into this game to get a stop. I get it. They had not done it all game. If they kicked that ball deep, it was probably over anyway. So I can't kill them for trying it. And Dan Campbell took all the accountability after the game, all of that. But if you're going to be aggressive, then live aggressive, then stay aggressive. I think they should have gone for 2 right before this, right? A 2-point conversion cuts it to 9. So if you don't get the onside kick and the Bills score a touchdown on that short field like they did, it's still just a 2-possession game, and you still have the prayer of making a comeback. So let's be about it, Dan Campbell, totally. He was interesting sort of saying, and this isn't, by the way, why the Lions lost this game. They lost because they couldn't get any stop all game long, and that's just sort of what's been going on with them with this defense. It doesn't mean that their magic is running out. We'll get to Mina, we'll get to RG3 after this, and I guess we'll take a break right now to bring RG3 onto the program. I want to dabble in the Heisman, but we got so much to get to with this guy wearing the Manders uni. We love to see it. Go Manders. What a win over the Saints. I would almost rather do, it depends, I mean, I would almost rather do Heisman, but what do you think? Do you think we'll have room for everything? Do you? Including the RG3PO and including the snowball? Yeah, okay. Let's do Hunch time here. I'm not ready for it, but I'm excited. Okay, let's do it. Hey everybody, RG3's on the show, Mina's on the show, but let's do some Hunch time. Oh boy, 2 games tonight. I don't even think I have the stomach for 2 more games. Hamilton, you looked, there's over 500 props on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's tons of them. We're on YouTube. We had a shit day yesterday. Okay, we are K-makers. Jamar Chase decided this is the one game I'm not going to score a touchdown in. Thanks a lot, Jamar.
Sam Hubbard scoring touchdowns.
David Montgomery leaves the game. He doesn't score a touchdown. They're in chase mode. They're not running the ball. It was a mess. Jameer Gibbs, friend of the show. He'll be on. Montgomery, friend of the show. We didn't have a great game. Let's do better tonight. We got 2 games. What do you got?
All right, let's start with that Vikings-Bears game. Justin Jefferson had just 2 catches for 27 yards in the first matchup with Chicago. His line is 81.5 for tonight. So what's your hunch? Does he get there?
I don't know if I have the stomach for this game. I don't quite know. I know, where are they playing? At US Bank?
They're in Minnesota.
Over.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over. We're going to do a little wintry Domaruski here. I don't know why I keep saying Ruski. I've turned into Andy Reid in those State Farm commercials for some reason. But he's averaging over 100 yards per game since that day that he was in the Dome last. So I think it's going to keep going tonight.
All right, let's go to that Falcons-Raiders game. Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in over a month. What's your hunch? How many do we see him throw tonight? Has to end, right?
Only one having a worse time in their life than me right now is poor Kirk Cousins. I'm going to go with 2+ though, okay? No Max Crosby for the Raiders. As we know, they've allowed multiple touchdown passes in 5 of the last 6. It's going to turn around for Cousins. It's happening tonight. What's your last one?
All right, last one. One anytime touchdown scorer for either of these games.
Ooh! Ooh, get FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm gonna say, let's go Bears-Vikings. You know what I'd like to see happen that would warm my heart? A little DJ Moore. Okay, he had over 100 yards. Yes, final answer. I don't know. He's good in this matchup. He scored in 2 of his last 3. He is scoring, which I love. So there you have it, guys. That's to recap my little hunches for tonight. Go have some fun on the good old FanDuel Sportsbook. We got 2 games tonight, 1 big one on Thursday, and then we are rolling. We got Saturday games, too.
RG3 is going to outrace everybody. Griffin looking at Tony throws, touchdown.
That was a great throw.
Robert Griffin III joining the show. I get to spend Christmas with my new family member. We are covering those Netflix games. These games are going to be out of control and so much to talk to, but I did want to say congratulations. What are you most looking forward to for Christmas Day?
Yeah, I mean, being with you guys, we're going to be in front of 195 countries, probably anywhere from 60 to 80 minimum million people. So this is a great opportunity for the game to go worldwide. I know that's a huge initiative for the NFL, is to make American football a worldwide sport. And Netflix is going to be at the precipice of that. So I'm honored to be on the show with you, Drew Brees, Mina, Manti Te'o, and our entire conglomerate of what feels like 1,000 personalities, but it's the greatest accumulation of talent we've ever seen on any network, and I'm honored to be a part of it with you guys.
The thing I'm most excited about, I think it's just obviously, I mean, the 1 seed's still in place. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're somehow on the same marquee as Beyonce and Mariah Carey, which is insane to add to that list. Like, we're all just the warm up for that action. But there's this idea of it being like we're all going to be connected. Like, I have family in Poland that gets to watch what I do for the first time ever on Netflix. You said it, nearly 200 countries, and you see like all the different faces from all the different networks. It's all coming together and being connected while we're covering the sport that we all equally love, even though we don't all have the same opinions about on that very special day. Now, the jersey you're wearing, of course, you played for them. We're gonna get into it. Let's dig into the Jaden Daniels experience. He comes off a bye. He's running, by the way, all over the Saints. I loved seeing that. And he has this really beautiful connection with Terry McLaurin. Nothing gives me the Christmas warmth more than Scary Terry finally sort of having that in his career. What do you make of their connection?
No, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin are easily have become one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the NFL. I'm happy for Scary Terry because he's had a plethora of quarterbacks over his time being there in Washington. But now every single time he steps on the field, he and that team feels like they have a chance to win. So I'm excited for him. Jaden's been doing it every which way, high completion percentage, playing winning football, running when he needs to. And I see as the year goes on, you're getting to see that special player that everyone saw at LSU more and more and more every single week. He is by far head over heels in the lead for NFL Rookie of the Year. And I know that the Washington Commanders feel like they have their franchise quarterback because they do.
How far can the Commanders go? If we look at the playoff picture in the NFC, how far can they go?
Yeah, I mean, okay, if they get in, you know, anything is possible. And when you have a guy like Jaden Daniels, who was the most explosive passer and runner in all of college football last year and a Heisman Trophy winner, when you put him behind a reworked offensive line and have the weapons that they have around them, I think the thing that's being a little bit not talked about is how well their defense is playing. You know, they're not having to outscore people 48-42 like the Buffalo Bills are. They're going out there and they're winning close games because their quarterback is playing at a high level and he's raising the level of everyone else around him. So to answer your question, yeah, I think the Washington Commanders could make a deep playoff run if they get in.
Have you talked to Jaden? Do you guys have any sort of relationship? What is that smile?
No, I have a relationship with Jaden, and you know, I'm honored to mentor him. But you know, at this point in the season, with everything that was going on, you know, they had a couple games there where they lost some games that everyone anticipated they would win, and then there's the whole Cliff Kingsbury thing. For me, it's the advice I gave him going in was just be himself. He doesn't have to be anyone else. You know, it's our job to talk about how great he is. It's our job to talk about what he brings to the table. All he has to do is go earn the respect of the guys in the locker room. He's done just that. And I think he's just done an amazing job not trying to be Superman all the time. You know, I think that was something that I struggled with when I got into the NFL, of always wanting to make that top play. He's willing to go through his progressions, slide. I saw him slide this past week, which I know everybody was excited about, and protecting himself and throwing the check down when you have to. He's playing the game at a very cerebral level, and playing the way that you want it to be played and running when he has to.
And he's got some resilience to him. Like, he doesn't let it linger with him, because there was this lull, and now they're out of it. What's the one thing you sort of saw that got them out of the lull?
Well, it was something I saw early in the year. And as you know, when you're putting those deposits in the bank, right, it's about building that foundation, because that's usually what you fall back on. But they had a game early in the year where he was playing well, but they were getting blown out. I think it was their second or third game of the season, and he had a rushing touchdown. I think it was his first or second rushing touchdown of his career, but they were losing by 2 scores. And everyone wanted to celebrate with them, give him high fives and do the dances, and he wanted nothing to do with it. And I talked to him after that game, and the point that he was trying to make was, it's about winning. It's not about the stats. It's not about the NFL Rookie of the Week awards. It's not about the personal accolades. It's about creating an expectation of winning. I think that moment really showed the rest of the team, like, oh, this guy's not here to play around. He's not here to get the commercials or to get that extra bread. He's here to win and establish in Washington that winning is the expectation. And I think that's what helped them get through that lull. A lot of times it's what you do weeks and months and years ahead of time that shows up for you in those crucial moments, and it's showing up for him right now.
If they get in, and I mean, let's just say they get in, who would you rather them face? Lions or Eagles?
Who would I rather them face?
Yeah.
I think the division rivalry is the one that you go to. You don't run away from that.
Wow.
You know,
they look pretty good.
No, Philly looks great, and I love what Jalen Hurts was able to do this past week. I think the Eagles are finally realizing like what their identity is and accepting that. And we can talk about that if you want to, but I think you want to get Philly in that situation. You don't want to run away from the division rival, but to kind of expand on that. I just feel like I went back and I watched the tape for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And with Jalen Hurts, he started the game 12 of 13 in the first half, 2 touchdowns, but he started the game 9 for 9. They ran 3 RPOs, which is what he's best at. They got him in rhythm, 3 RPOs. They ran empty set 4 different times to spread out the defense and give him a clear picture of what he's looking at. And they ran motion on 4 of their first 12 completions to give him coverage identifiers, so he knew he had man and he knew where he needed to go with the football. I said this last week, Jalen Hurts is a winner. I do believe he's an RPO quarterback, so you have to utilize the RPOs to give him an opportunity to get in rhythm. His first touchdown pass, RPO. And I think people want him to be a pure drop back passer who's throwing the ball 45 times a game because he got paid so much money. But that's not what he is, and that's not what they need him to be, and that's not what winners do. Winners aren't out there throwing the ball 45 times. They're throwing it 32 times and blowing out teams that are really, really good football teams. So I like Philly, but if I have to rep anybody, you know I'm going to rep the Commanders.
And they play each other this week, which I love. Maybe we'll get that preview, and it's a true, competitor wants that for a third time. I would not want that. I'd run to the banged-up IR Lions quickly, coming off that loss that they had yesterday. There's the RPO thing. We saw that, but you can't. I mean, we saw drop-back passes in a huge way yesterday. Jalen comes out and says that's what you wanted to see. Is he talking to you, RG3? Like, what does that mean that we were able to see him dish it out the way he was when Saquon was less available?
Yeah, I mean, if he's talking to me, he's talking to the wrong guy. I've always supported Jaden, and I believe he is a winner. What I say is, if it's Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan goes to shoot his shot selection. What is his main shot? What is that shot that we're going to get that every single time? It's the fadeaway. Jordan's going to shoot the fadeaway, and he's going to use that fadeaway to set up the rest of his game. Whether it's the dribble drive, penetrate with the floater across the middle. At times, he's going to be open for the 3, and he's going to knock those down. So for Jalen, to me, it all starts with the RPO. He is a quarterback who can run and pass. Utilize that, it opens up everything else. You heard A.J. Brown talk about it at the end of the game in the locker room. He said Jalen got in the rhythm, and that's just how the game went. They got him in rhythm. It's not a bad thing to be an RPO quarterback. And then he also was dynamic dropping back to pass.
Were you impressed? I mean, if you look at it, 28 straight dropbacks. Were you impressed?
Yeah, I was impressed. And that's what I'm saying. In those dropbacks, 28 straight dropbacks, you're talking about RPOs, movement, empty formations. You know, he had a couple scrambles, had a little nice stanky leg where he made the defender fall down and then slid before he could get hit. That's how you get your quarterback in rhythm. That's how you come out and you prove who you are. And I mean, for Jalen, he just got to do it every single week. I remember Michael Vick used to do this. He'd have a couple games where he would be lolling, and then the media would say he can't throw, and he'd come out and throw for 350 yards. And it's like, all right, well, just act like they're saying that all the time, Jalen, so you can go out and ball out like you did this week.
It is Jalen versus Jaden in Week 16. If you look at that NFC playoff picture, are the Eagles the best team?
No, I still think that the Lions are the best team. I think they're the best team in the NFC. I think you can't say any other team right now is better than the Bills. They had a wake-up call a week ago against the Rams, but for them to come out there and play the way that they did, with the way that Josh Allen is playing, the Bills are the best team in the NFL. But I think the Lions are still the best team, even though they are banged up on the defensive side of the ball. You can't take that away from them with what they're doing. And I know there's a lot of angst about Dan Campbell and what his propension to go forward and kick on sides, but I think the Lions are still the top team. I
mean, it is a little angsty, right? It's a little. Are you eye rolling that? Like it's the way they can win that way. There's no concerns with the way that Dan Campbell operates.
I just think that for Dan Campbell, if he starts questioning what he's doing, then he loses the essence of who he is. Mm-hmm. So we just talked about Michael Jordan, right? Michael, I think he's on record saying that he missed more shots than he ever made. And it's like, well, no, duh, but you just got to keep shooting. So for Dan Campbell, it's like, hey, man, if you're going for it on fourth downs and your gut is telling you to do that, you got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
Look at where it's gotten the Detroit Lions. Everyone will want to nitpick and say he shouldn't do this, he shouldn't do that. Well, everything he's been doing has gotten them to be the best team in the NFC. Mm-hmm. He's got to keep trusting that. Don't second guess it now. Keep biting off kneecaps. Yeah. Keep doing whatever you got to do to help put your team in position and let them know that you believe in them.
When I look at the Eagles, I don't have a question. I think they've got a great defense, best in the league in the second half. No. I don't have a question about Jalen. I don't have a question about them using RPOs to set up. They can have Saquon on the bench and they do it. But I do question the Lions. I have a question about their defense, and it's not like that they're not playing well, but and they might get Aiden back, and they might get some pieces back to generate some pressure. But if I look at who's the best team in the NFC right now, it's very hard to not give it to the Eagles. It's interesting you're sticking with the Lions.
Yeah, the Eagles have the number one defense, really, period, right now. Statistically, they're the number one defense in the NFL. I think what Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell have been able to do outside has been unbelievable. And then you mentioned the Lions. They just lost another defensive tackle today to a torn ACL, McNeil. So they're continuing to get banged up. I just looked at the Bills score 48 to win. The Lions were down by two, 3 scores and still came all the way back and tried to make a game out of it. So I just trust Jared Goff, and I know that's like, really? Yeah, I trust Jared Goff. I think he threw 5 interceptions in a game, and they still won. Like, never count the Lions out. What Amon-Ra St. Brown and those running backs are able to do offensively, I think they can score with people, but they're going to have to figure it out on the defensive side of the ball because it feels like half their starters are on IR right now.
Yeah, Lions get the Bears in Week 16. What you're saying about Goff is right. Nearly 500 yards, 5 touchdowns from Goff yesterday. Amazing. Carlton Davis is getting surgery. Ali McNeil done for the year. I know it's a head shaker. Got to put it together. If we flip over to the AFC, do you have a Lamar Jackson jersey under the one you're wearing, or do you have Lamar socks on? Like, let's talk about this massive game yesterday. We get to watch him on Christmas against the Texans. It would be a huge game for the team and him personally, but these 5 touchdown passes against the Giants. And then Josh Allen, of course, does his thing. Is the MVP race still a race?
Yes, it's still a race. And I said this on X yesterday and, got a lot of comments back. Oh, you don't like Josh Allen, blah. No, I love Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is in the driver's seat right now. He's the number 1 seed in the MVP race. Mm-hmm. But what I also know is that the MVP is the MVP of the entire season. It's not the MVP of a 4-game stretch. It's not the MVP of a 6-game stretch. It's not the MVP at the beginning. It's not just the MVP at the end. So last week, Saquon Barkley was number 1 in the MVP race. A couple weeks before that, it was Lamar Jackson, and nobody questioned it. So how you finish matters. And, Kay, we have the blessing of watching Lamar Jackson play against a playoff team in the Houston Texans on national TV in almost 200 countries, and how you finish matters. The Bills have 3 games left, and so do the Ravens. Well, the Bills are going to play teams that have a combined record of 7-21 that are not making the playoffs. Lamar and the Ravens are going to play 2 teams that have a combined record of 19-9, and the Steelers and the Texans. And to me, if Lamar goes on Christmas Day and has the game he had against the New York Giants, oof, I believe he wins the MVP in that situation, because it's on prime time, galactical TV. Okay, everybody's going to be watching this, and I can't say enough about the season that Lamar's had. If you put them side by side for the season, Lamar beats Josh Allen in every statistical category except for rushing touchdowns. So, and he's got 9 more passing touchdowns. So it's like, it's not Josh Allen hate. Josh Allen is doing legendary things. I think he's the first quarterback in NFL
I think we
history.
have the. Do we have it? I'm hearing that we have it.
You have that graphic?
I think we have the passer rating. Or I don't know what we have.
Yeah.
This makes your point. This is for you, RG3. We whipped this up for you.
There you go.
It. I know what you're saying, but if we give him another one, not if we give him, if he earns another one, that's 3 for him. Do you think there's any hesitancy to give it to him when? I mean, it does narrative-wise. The Bills have won in bigger spots, so your Christmas idea is absolutely it's huge. He has to perform and have that sort of a performance. On that world stage to tilt things in his favor. He also has to take care of business against the Steelers in a big way. Correct. He has to really have a great game there. He has the opportunity, but I mean, three MVPs puts him in rare air. That's Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Johnny Unitas, Jim Brown, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. They have 4 and 5 apiece. I wonder if there's any voter thought about that, because it does feel like in 10 years I'll look back at Josh Allen's season as that 2015 Cam Newton season. Not this 3rd MVP run for Lamar, at least right now, but a lot can change.
Yeah, Kay, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. I think there is some reluctancy to give Lamar a 3rd MVP.
Maybe.
Just because the narrative around him is he's got to do it in the playoffs, right? But I don't think that's necessarily right. Last year, a lot of people were saying Lamar shouldn't have won because his stats weren't that great. So now this year he's leading the league in a bunch of different quarterback categories, and one of the tops in the league in touchdown passes. And Josh Allen is kind of in that position where his stats aren't to the level of some of the other quarterbacks when you look at Lamar and Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. So I wouldn't hold that against Lamar. I don't think that the MVP of the regular season should matter to the postseason, and that their postseason lack of success should affect that. Lamar has earned that, but the race isn't over. Like I said, right now, Josh Allen is the MVP of the NFL, but we still got 3 games left. He beat the #1 seed in the AFC and the NFC. His numbers over the last 4 games are absolutely out of this world, but we still got to finish the season, and I think people got to stop saying the race is over, okay? It's not over. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and the fat lady might be singing on Christmas. I don't know.
Did you just call? You didn't just call. Hold on, we got 2 performers on Christmas. I know you didn't just call them fat, right? Let's make sure.
Oh no!
Let's make sure.
We going to a party with Beyonce.
We are.
Beyonce.
I'm so excited. And that brings me to the Texans. So they clinched the AFC South with the win against the Dolphins. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of you. You lose to the Jets and the Titans in the last couple of weeks. You've got the Ravens and Beyonce right now. Who are the Texans? Who are the Texans?
I think the Texans are a team that had extreme expectations this year. And because they have not gone out and C.J. Stroud doesn't have 35 touchdown passes, I think they've underperformed, but I still think they're a dangerous team. You see Nico Collins back out there, Tank Dell getting back into the swing of things. I think CJ is starting to feel a little bit better. Last year, I called him a dot specialist because everything he throws just looks easy, you know? And I feel like his decision-making is getting back on par. I think defense is caught up to the Texans, and they're having to work through how do we continue to attack and play at a high level. So I just think when you have extreme expectations, look at the Bears this year. Everyone's saying, oh, they're going to make it to the playoffs. Some people picked them to win the Super Bowl, and now they're not even close to the playoffs. So it feels like the sky is falling, and people are getting fired. So the Texans had extreme expectations, and they haven't quite reached that, but they're still division champs. They're still going to the playoffs, and it's not how you play early. It's how you play late. If they can beat the Ravens on Christmas Day, not only does it end Lamar Jackson's MVP race, it also makes people more confident in them going into the playoffs and their own boosted confidence in their locker room. So I live in Houston, so I get to hear people talk about them every day. They're excited down here about the Houston Texans, even though the season hasn't been as smooth as they wanted.
Beautiful game by C.J. Stroud yesterday. They have to get through the Chiefs on the road at Arrowhead on Saturday. We don't know if Patrick Mahomes suiting up for that one. They've got a decision to make as the 1 seed is still in play. I'm looking at FanDuel Sportsbook right now. 4th best odds to win the AFC the Texans have. They're tied with the Steelers right now. Better chance to win the AFC, Steelers or Texans?
Ooh, to win the AFC. I mean, the Steelers still got to win their own division, you know, with the Ravens being in there. But I would say the Steelers right now. They look stronger. You hope everything's okay with T.J. Watt, but the Steelers I'd pick over the Texans.
What happened to them yesterday, those Steelers?
Yeah. I really think they're missing George Pickens, and it seems obvious.
He's that good? He means that much?
I don't think people aren't talking about it. Like, what is Russell Wilson's strongest attribute? The moon ball, right? The deep ball down the field. And George Pickens and him, since he's taken over as a starter this year, have been out of this world. So I've been weird. It's been weird for me to not see people talking about that as much. It's just like, oh, well, they just shut him down. It's like, well, what happened to the 49ers when they didn't have Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams and Debo was a little banged up? Like,
but that's three people, 3 all-pro, generational almost players. George Pickens, so if you know, by the way, Mina will come on in a minute. Mina was all over the fact that George Pickens is that important. Aqib Talib, Super Bowl champion, came and said it's Justin Jamar, and then George Pickens is the 3rd best receiver. But I want to feel. By the way, him being ruled out so early in the week, I hated because that sort of means it's a little more serious. Can they win without him? I mean, they had 160-something yards of offense yesterday. It's a no.
Yes. They can win without him, but let me break it down to you from a quarterback's perspective and an offense perspective. When you don't have your number 1 receiver, and he's also your number 1 deep threat, and he's also the guy that the defense has to key in on, they can now leave your outside receivers and your slot guys in one-on-one matchups and load the box. Because the Steelers still are a run-first team. So now it hurts Russell Wilson throwing the ball down the field. It hurts the box count when you're trying to run the ball with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. It puts more pressure on the offensive line. And I think that's what you saw in this past game against Philly. They just couldn't push the ball down the field, and they couldn't find running lanes. You add George Pickens to the mix, it changes all of that. Defensive coordinators hate nothing more than a quarterback running and you hitting a deep ball on their DBs. They hate those two things. They will survive through everything else. And right now, the Steelers just don't have that deep threat, the confidence to allow Russell to go back and play like he did when he was in Seattle. They've
got the Ravens. What a Week 16 upon us as we continue to unpack Week 15 and the playoff picture. Guys, listen to Mr. Robert Griffin III on Out of Pocket with RG3. You're not going anywhere. We're going to say hi to Mina. I got Heisman questions. We're live on YouTube, but I wanted to get that out there. You're sitting on your awesome set. We'll see you on Netflix, and we'll talk to Mina. But before we bring her on, I wanted to ask you about the Heisman. I'm not a college football follower. I see the highlights. You were at the ceremony. I saw that. You've got your trophy. I see behind you, which I love. I feel like I just follow you, and I say, you liked everybody. You were very like, I don't care who wins, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Did they get it right?
Yeah, they got it right. And what I would say is, I've said this many times, every guy that was there that was worthy of winning. Every guy that was there was worthy of being there. Could there have been other guys there? Yeah, Shadur Sanders could have been there. Cam Scadaboo could have been there from Arizona State. Bryson Daly from Army could have been there. But at the end of the day, what it seemed like to me was that the voters preferred Travis Hunter and what he did on both sides of the ball. Ashton Jeanty, I had a car ride back, a Sprinter van ride back with Ashton Jeanty after the award. Him, his girlfriend, I think girlfriend or fiance, his family, mom and dad, and we were in there talking about the situation. And yes, there's a feeling that Ashton Jeanty should have won. People believe that. He certainly believes that. And he's about to break Barry Sanders' record. Like, there's so much of that you can say, boom, this guy should have won it. But the fact is that Travis Hunter was in the race this year, playing both sides of the ball, making an impact at corner with 4 interceptions and also at receiver with over 1,000 yards receiving. And we've never seen anything like that before. So I do believe Travis Hunter was the right guy to win the award, but I can understand any argument for Aston Genty being the one.
What team do we want? Let's say I make the rules. Robert gets to pick where Travis goes. I want to know the team, and I want to know what position.
Okay. If I could pick, it would be, this is a fantasy world, okay? Wherever Shedeur Sanders goes, okay? Because I believe that Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders get the best out of each other.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that's going to happen because I believe Shedeur is going to be the first pick in the draft. So now in the real world, it's the New England Patriots. The reason it's the New England Patriots is because, who do you want?
I don't know anything. I just didn't think you were going to say Patriots, but go ahead. Explain.
Patriots have the third pick in the draft.
Yes.
I believe the first 2 picks will be quarterbacks. The Raiders need a QB. The Giants need a QB. All right, so if it plays out the way it is right now, the Patriots will be the 3rd pick. You got Drake May there.
Him and Christian Gonzalez is very cute. I like that.
And I love the point you're making there because I sat down with Travis Hunter for Out of Pocket with RG3. Me and my wife, we interviewed him, had a great conversation. And the conclusion to the conversation was he needs to play both ways at the NFL level.
Wow.
He needs to because it helps him be the best player he can be. He feeds off of playing both sides of the ball. It would be like taking a pastry chef who is a master at beignets. Okay, it's a French donut, a New Orleans delicacy. And I'm now going to go tell him, you can no longer make beignets. You can only make cakes.
It'll stifle him.
It'll stifle him. So I believe Travis Hunter playing receiver and playing DB full-time in the NFL is going to help him be the best player he can be. It's all he knows.
What a bright spot for the Patriots. If you can get that help on defense with another great corner, one of somebody who's unheralded, I think still, Christian Gonzalez. And Patriots need explosive, they need beignets. They need explosive plays on offense. We can't find a beignet in New England.
You really can't. But I'm telling you, he told us point blank period, he feeds off of making plays on defense, and it helps him on offense. He's done this his whole life. Since he was 6 years old, he's played offense and defense every single snap. So don't change him. Don't take a round peg and try to put it in a square hole. Yeah. Let him be himself. That just means he won't be able to practice every day. Just throwing that out there.
RG3, why when I open my phone, maybe it's just my algorithm. Every time I open my phone, it's Travis's girlfriend, or fiance, I think, rather, that's on everything. He had an apology on a stream, not an apology, an FU defending my woman moment. What do I need to know about that as a Heisman winner who's dealt with this cycle of media in a way that was probably much less than what it is now? What advice do we have for this Heisman winner, and what do I need to know?
Yeah, I mean, what you need to know is that Travis Hunter loves his fiance, and I hear a lot of people saying, well, guys got to make their own mistakes and they got to do this, they got to do that. I just think the assumption that saying that his relationship is a mistake is already bad in the first place. We shouldn't be diving into the personal lives of these players when they have a loving fiance or a wife or a girlfriend or whatever it may be. My advice to him and my wife's advice to her in the moment was to just continue to live your life and enjoy each other. Because as long as they're enjoying the moment and enjoying each other, it doesn't matter what anybody on the outside says. But I do think that Travis Hunter is getting a crash course on the most famous college football player in the world right now. And mob mentality, Kay, you know how this goes. Mob mentality can turn something that's nothing into something. So our advice to them was just continue to love each other. Make private whatever you want to make private. But I think people giving exposés on their relationship, especially in the national media.
I just love that. I love that you guys had advice for them. I like this beautiful camaraderie that you guys have. We're going to take a short little break here with RG3 and say hi to Mina Kimes as we go to break. I'm going to have you guys do an impromptu, didn't tell either of you this is happening, draft from the Netflix 22-person gauntlet Christmas takeover. We'll be right back. All right, please let's welcome Mina Kimes of ESPN to the show. Hi.
Hello. Good to see you guys.
Hello. Great to see you.
What's up?
Happy to have you here. The three of us get to hang out with Manti Te'o, little Drew Brees, and like 90,000. Who isn't working Netflix Christmas? So excited to have this big family. So I thought we could take a look at the 22 people. It's a 22-person roster. We're going to have a snowball fight speed draft. You guys are the team captains. Who would you want on your team for a Christmas Day snowball fight? Mina, you have the first pick.
Wait, a snowball fight of this group. I mean,
quarterbacks should go early.
Can I take Robert? Because that's the first.
No, Robert's a team captain, and we need to see Mina and RG3, and then we need the list, guys. Let's do it.
Throw it back up one more time if you guys can. Okay. I'm looking to see who else can throw. I mean, I bet Greg Olsen can throw.
Okay.
Oh, Drew Brees, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Drew Brees, arguably the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Okay, first mistake there, Mina. Drew's got shoulder issues, so he can't really throw like that anymore. But I'm gonna go with Nate Burleson. Okay, I think Nate's got a little more athleticism still left in his body. I'm gonna go with Nate.
Mina.
G-Reg, I'll go with Greg Olsen here. I don't even know if he's played quarterback. I assume he was like a high school quarterback, Robert. That's right? He probably did at some point.
Well, he probably was. Honestly, quarterbacks are the best athletes on the field, so I understand where you're coming from. I'm going to go with J.J. Watt as my second pick.
Damn. So you're having time to think about it, and I'm like, okay, God, you took J.J. Watt. Do we think Manti can throw? I'm sorry, we're just taking all the players. I realize this is...
I was going to say me. What about me and Bert Kreischer? You don't think we got a little something?
I don't know. I've never seen you throw. I can't throw. Actually, you know what? I forgot to take J-Mac. I'll take J-Mac, my teammate, J-Mac, of course.
That's a good pick.
He's an incredible athlete.
I'm gonna take Bert. All right, the machine. It just makes sense. So we got Nate, JJ, and Bert.
All right, I'll pander a little bit. I'll take Kay here because I don't know if she can actually throw, but she can throw to guests very well. So
oh my God, thanks, Mina. What a compliment.
Listen, we're vibing right now. That was good. That was a good one, Mina. I'm gonna go with man.
Make your last pick.
Let's go. Did you pick Manti or did you not pick Manti?
I didn't. I picked Kay instead of Manti.
All right, I'm gonna go with Manti Te'o. I feel like he's going to bring the Hawaiian vibes and we'll be Gucci.
We get to hang out on Christmas Day with Netflix, 2 epic games, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, almost 200 countries that we'll be sharing time with. We're going to get back on the air. RG3, we'll see you on Christmas.
See you guys there.
See ya. Good luck against the Eagles this week. We're going to have Mina joining us now. Welcome back to Up and Adams. My next guest, an ESPN NFL analyst. She knows more about The Simpsons. She knows more about everything than anyone. You're unbelievable. It is such an honor to have you on the show. And you are part of Christmas Day coverage on Netflix. Mina Kimes, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, it's very kind of you. I liked your Simpsons joke about the leftorium, by the way. I didn't know you were left-handed.
Yes, yes.
I'm so excited about Christmas. I felt like when that lineup or whatever, that Coachella style list of talent came out, people were not clear on who's doing what. I mean, no one's clear really, but you and I are actually, to clarify here, spending Christmas together because everyone else is spread all over the country. Our studio show is in LA and it is you, me, and then Robert, Manti, and Drew.
Yes, Robert, Manti, and Drew, and we're going to have so much fun all day long in LA. But Patrick Mahomes is a big part of that. It's supposed to be you, me, Beyonce, Mariah, and Patrick. He leaves the game with this ankle injury. I am just like, oh my goodness. Then I see the car and all of that. He's considered week to week. What were you thinking when you saw it, and how should the Chiefs manage it given the 1 seed still in play?
Yeah, he's battled with these sort of ankle injuries for a while, Kay. I mean, how many times have we seen him leave and then come back into the game? Or maybe he's missed one game. I remember when Chad Henne came in for him. So I guess my first reaction was both less, okay, I've seen this with Patrick before. It seems highly plausible. It's not that serious. So on one level, not terribly worried. It wasn't a knee or something that looked uncharacteristic, but also concerned, obviously, because it's Patrick Mahomes, but also because I think you saw yesterday the Chiefs' biggest weakness and flaw headed into this thing, which is that he's just getting hit at a crazy rate. I believe unprecedented for his career. The offensive tackle situation, particularly left tackle in Kansas City, is deeply alarming. You're seeing it affecting his play and now potentially his health. And you start to worry not just about how long he's out, but will he be protected when he gets back in there?
And we'll see what happens. They've got the Texans. They have it at home. It's a short week, too, so they have to monitor and make the best decision. It's one of those where, knowing Patrick, he's going to want to play. He's going to want to get right back in there and do his thing. So it becomes a little bit of a decision for those Chiefs with these big, big games coming up. Let's talk a little bit about these Bills, right? Josh Allen, fine. Well, he's amazing. We love him. And he has to be that kind of Josh Allen to overcome what this defense has been in now. Yeah. Defense is a concern. Did yesterday alleviate or sort of inflame your feelings about the defense?
I think I felt about the same way that I did coming into this, because coming off of that Rams game, you saw a lot of the same issues. And the Rams offense, talked about this on my show, and the Lions offense just have a lot of shared DNA, a lot of similarities in terms of, obviously, they both run the ball north-south really well, condensed formations, tons of pre-snap motion, really the ability to attack the linebackers there. Play action, passing, attack. So to see the Bills struggle, especially, you know, obviously the Lions are basically a mash unit on defense now, but the Bills were missing both their starting safeties in this one. And so it wasn't terribly surprising. It's concerning insofar as, like, I don't see it getting better. Fortunately for Buffalo, only the Ravens, I think, in the AFC play a similar style of offense, but this is defense that can definitely be had over the middle of the field, and you can run on them, and that's probably not going away anytime soon.
Carlton Davis with surgery, Aleem McNeil done for the year. Tough go for this team that I think we all want to say is the best squad in the NFC, but also the one that has little questions, and other teams seem to be getting momentum right now. Let's talk about the onside kick. Your thoughts? Is there a world where it was too aggressive? Down 10, 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It did not go well, Mina.
Yeah, and I dislike it in process, not just because it didn't go well, but the process being, like, onside kicks just don't work anymore, right? Like, I believe the success rate is under 3%.
Really?
Probably lower.
Wow.
It's really, they just don't work anymore. So it was actually the same reason why, you know, I quibbled with, who played for the onside kick? Was it McVay the other day? Or I'm trying to remember now, my brain is failing me. But it's just not a good strategy to ever. Oh, it was Sean McDermott, pardon me, when they lost to the Lions and he called the timeout, forcing the Bills to take the onside kick. That frustrated me immensely, really for the same reason, which is onside kicks. If you're playing for an onside kick, you've basically lost. And I love pretty much everything Dan Campbell does, and I love his aggression overall. I know, right? He's probably never been called Daniel Campbell in his life. But I did not love this decision because I just don't love onside kicks generally.
If I'm looking at just power rankings and all of that, Lions are still at the top from what I can see to start this Monday, even given all the injuries. Do you agree? Are they the best team? Because those Eagles look so good.
Yeah, probably not because of all the injuries on defense. It feels awful to say because this Lions offense is such a wagon. Ben Johnson is brilliant. And Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, has done such a good job as players have just been taken out like pieces on a Jenga tower. And for some reason, they've honestly continued to play at a decently high level, but it felt kind of like watching them that the tower came crumbling down. It's just too many injuries for them to overcome. So I would put the Eagles above them at this point.
I think I agree with that. And then there's the Packers of it all. I know you're a Seahawks gal. It happened last night. The Seahawks defense, all of it sort of fell apart a little bit, even when Geno was on the field. And I'm looking at the squad, and I'm thinking about your Twitter feed and Toyotathon and how it's all happening. Jordan Love looked impressive again. What do we make of the Packers after this one?
I just think the Packers' run game gets a little bit slept on in a division with the Lions, and we talk so much about the Ravens, and you know, the Bills have a really dominant rushing attack, but I would put this Packers run game up there with anyone. What they do in the backfield, it's so cleverly designed by Matt LaFleur with his use of motion and creative formations, and then Josh Jacobs just breaking tackles. You know, this Seahawks run defense had been playing really well the last month, particularly against Arizona, San Francisco. But you saw in those first few drives, the Packers just have the ability to impose their will on teams on the ground. So you're not even asking that much of Jordan Love, even though he does bring you, I think, that high upside arm talent that not every quarterback in the NFL has. So really impressive performance by them overall. Obviously, Seattle losing Geno Smith, it kind of felt like any chance of a comeback thwarted here. But I would put the Packers up with anyone because of that run game.
Third in the league, Josh Jacobs is behind Saquon and Derrick Henry, to your point. Jordan Love heating up, very few interceptions, very few mistakes as this run potentially continues. Matt LaFleur getting no love in Coach of the Year.
It's kind of one of those things where if you've been so good for so long, you don't get it right. With Matt LaFleur, who I believe maybe outside of Jim Harbaugh probably has the highest active, highest winning record as an active coach. It's actually historically good at this point. But you're looking at him, you're like, well, they were good last year. Well, then maybe you should have given it to him last year. Well, it was good, you know. But like when you step back and consider the job he's done transitioning this roster, incredibly young roster, and then of course shepherding in a new quarterback and dealing with the situation of Rodgers wanting out. I mean, it is really remarkable. And again, I think he's such a brilliant offensive play caller. I would put him up there with anyone in the league right now. So
he was able to
he should be talked about in that category. But it's always like the most improved coach, you know, the most improved team.
Most improved. But then again, like Dan Campbell didn't get it last year.
Right.
So it's a little.
And now he won't because he was good before
I
before.
know. It's a little dicey. If we look at the playoff picture, if we can have the controller maybe pull up to wrap this up. Do you want AFC or NFC? What are you thinking? Mina, you take
sorry,
a pick.
I couldn't hear you.
Pick AFC or NFC to take a look at the playoff picture.
Oh, okay. Let's do AFC.
Let's do AFC. Okay, so we got the Broncos. I would love to hit on them. The Chargers with the loss. What stuck out to you about this playoff picture that sort of is the Mina Kimes tunnel vision on it?
It seems kind of locked in yesterday with the Broncos beating the Colts, right? That was sort of the biggest, highest impact game in terms of playoff positioning, and then obviously the Dolphins losing too. It seems very top-heavy. I think I would start there. Looking at the bottom upside, well, the Ravens, obviously, I would put up there with anyone. But I think that the Chiefs and Bills, I mean, the Bills now, this is what's so cool. There is really an opportunity for the Bills to claim that one seed, which means that every game through the end of the year will matter. And it's not just going to be a team like taking week 18 off, most likely.
I want to get to the Steelers part of this because I've followed you. I know that you're like George Pickens. They got to create some big explosive plays. Is he just like is he the MVP? Like,
well, he's just so fundamental to what
crazy.
Yeah, to what Russ does, right? Which is it's a very like deep ball dependent offense. It's very explosive. It's a little bit inconsistent. And when you take out a guy who catches literally everything thrown his way, suddenly that explosive element is gone, and you're just getting a lot of 3 and outs. And that's not to shade Russ. That's just the style of the offense. It's a bit boom or bust, especially when they're not running the ball well. But yeah, I mean, he's so underrated, and I think you're really seeing that right now in his absence.
Love that. Love you. I know you have such a full day and you are so busy. So thank you for the time. And RG3, I know we're going to be spending a lot of time together, get together over the next couple of weeks. Anything last shout out for Netflix Christmas? Something you're looking forward to, a storyline?
I mean, I'm looking forward to Beyonce. I should probably talk about the NFL, but like, let's be real. We're all there for Beyonce.
Let's be real, Mina. Okay, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time. And maybe enjoy Toyotathon and Simpsons and all the little things. And we will see each other on Christmas. Thanks, Mina.
See you then. Bye.
Bye. Big thanks to Mina Kimes, to RG3. We will have Jahmyr Gibbs on the program, Kevin Durant on the show. Maybe Devontae Adams after his 100th touchdown. Epic career game in history for him. We'll be back.